Hello everyone, welcome back to our 25th Abhidhamma study class with Sayadaw Pariyatti Kalinkara. Today we'll be going over the first part of the unwholesome mental factors. But before we begin with the lecture, we would like to invite Sayadaw to open with Namo Tassa. Sayadaw, if you would like to lead us in saying Namo Tassa, please.
Okay, let's start our today's Abhidhamma study, reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Thank you very much, Sayadaw, for leading us with Namo Tassa. We will now begin the Abhidhamma Lecture. Sayadaw, whenever you would like.
Okay. Yeah. For today's study, we are focusing on the Cetasika, the second chapter of Abhidhamma Sangaha. And before we continue, let me review a little bit. The Cetasika are altogether 52 in number and divided into 3. The first group, Anya Samana, is related to the different group of consciousness. No matter the consciousness is akusala or ahituka or beautiful consciousness, the first group associated with all group of consciousness. And the second group is akusala. Today we are going to study about the second group. And the last group is beautiful group, Sobhana Cetasika. And so, last week we have done focusing on Anya Samana, so ethically variable factors. Okay, so in this lesson, we will study about the unwholesome mental factors. So we have to remember the akusala, we call the akusala citta, and also here akusala cetasika, unwholesome mental factors. So to recognize akusala, which one is more important? How do you think? Or akusala citta is important, or akusala cetasika is important? Anyone? It's okay.
I think both are the same. They arise together, they cease together.
Okay.
They have the same
Okay.
object. They take the same object. They have the same base. So
yeah. Although they arise together at the same time and taking the same object, but as I have mentioned several times in previous class, the consciousness just has only the characteristic to take the object, to aware the object. It's like a clear water. It is for its function. It just cognize the object only. But when it is rooted in the lobha, dosa, moha, it becomes akusala. From the beginning, the root is lobha. Because of that, we can say, this is lobha mula, and recognize as a akusala. Okay, if we change to the alobha, the root is alobha or adosa like this. It's no more akusala like this. This way, but still consciousness will cognize the object. For example, if you see someone and you develop your loving kindness and keeping good attitude toward that person, then your mind is rooted in the alobha, adosa, and sometimes even the amoha is come together. Then we cognize that kind of consciousness is kusala and wholesome consciousness. But if you get angry you know, your consciousness, the same person, you know, the same person. And also we can say that at the beginning you develop loving kindness towards that person, and you happy, and then you wish him to be happy or like this. And but 5 minutes later, something happened and changed. The same person is there, and your consciousness is taking the same object, but you know, the root already changed. The dosa, you get angry, then it changed to the akusala, like this. It means the when we say consciousness and mental fetters are arising, at the beginning I have introduced that consciousness is the leader, right? The citta, consciousness is the leader. But although it is, consciousness is the leader, the mental fetters manipulates the consciousness to be a kusala side or akusala side. And then, you know, sometimes the assistant is manipulating, you know, the leader is going somewhere. Okay, you know, this is who is that kind of person and doing something good or bad or like this, giving some suggestion or some hints, you know, it's influence towards the leader in the same way. And consciousness is not, you know, the kind to identify itself, kusala or akusala, because it just know the object. Then when it is rooted in the loba, dosa, moha, it's become akusala, because even the root itself is that the nature of the unwholesome, has the nature of unwholesome. In the same way, if it is rooted in the aloba or adosa or moha, it becomes the wholesome, like this. So we have to understand the mental fetters are very powerful, although they are considered as the follower of the consciousness when they arise together. Very powerful. Okay, let's see. Okay, here is 14 types of unwholesome mental fetters. We have counted at I think lesson 23 like this. Here, akusala consciousness 14. Akusala mental fetter 14. So we divided into different groups. The moha, leaded by the moha, four mental fetters. Moha chatuka. So moha, delusion, ahirika, shamelessness or wrongdoing, Metta, fearlessness or wrongdoing, Uddhacca, restlessness or agitation. So I just want to repeat it because I already mentioned this. And because after this, you know, after next week lesson, we will start to find out how many mental fetters associated with which kind of consciousness like this. So trying to pick up some information, the very important information. And here, these four mental fetters are also the unwholesome universal, you know, unwholesome universal, right? Or unwholesome universal. That's why these four fetters occur in all 12 unwholesome. So whenever unwholesome consciousness arises, these four come together. There's no akusala citta arise without moha, without ahirika, without anuttapa, or without uddhacca. And if we identify this as akusala, there must be at least this four. And do you remember the other universal we have studied? How many?
7.
Seven, yeah. Okay, so with the 7, with the universal mental fetter 7, we can get it 11 mental fetter, at least if we say this is akusala citta, we know, okay, because it is consciousness, there must be 7 universal mental fetters, and also because it is akusala, so there must be 4, at least moha, ahirika, anuttapa, uddhacca, in this way, because the minimum number of mental fetters in akusala is 11. In akusala citta is 11, right? So based on this information, we will add more. Then this this understanding is not that difficult. But if you cannot keep this kind of information, it will be very difficult. Later on, why this become 11 or 12 or like this? Very complicated. Maybe some of you already have the experience learning Abhidhamma. This is called the Sampayutta or Sampayoga or Sangaha, two methods. After what this classification, we will continue. At that time, if you follow, this kind of basic information and pick it up and then add some more information, and very easy. Otherwise, you always keeping number in your mind, repeatedly forget, that again and again, and remember again, after that forget again. Yeah, it is endless cycle. Yeah. Okay. So, you're thinking, the Abhidhamma is difficult, but actually it's not that. Okay, then let's continue. The Lobha 3. There are 3 mental fetters leaded by Lobha, Ditthi, and Mana. So these 3 fetters only in Lobha Mula consciousness. Only in Lobha Mula consciousness. Okay, so let's see. If in Lobha Mula consciousness, we need to add this. We need to add this. If it is Dosa Mula, we will add another group. So here, 4 mental fetters are leaded by the Dosa, hatred, Issa, envy, Achariya, avarice or stinginess, Kukuja, worry or remorse. So these fetters occur only in Dosa Mula. I will give some more information in next slides. And if it is Dosa Mula, we don't need to add this Lobha group, because this says that only in Lobha Mula. Right? So we need to add the basics, the universal unwholesome 4, and then Dosa Mula, Dosa group, like this. Then the other 3, Tina, sloth, and Metta, torpor. These 2 fetters only related to the prompt Chitta or Lobha Mula and Dosa Mula. So in Lobha Mula, prompt consciousness are 4, and Dosa Mula 1. So together 5. So associated with 5 consciousness only. Then Vichikicha is doubt. So it's related to only Moha Mula, and among the Moha Mula, among the 2 Moha Mula was only one of the Lobha Moha Mula consciousness associated with doubt, Vichikicha, Sampayutta, only one. Okay, let's move to the another information here. Akusala Sararana. So this also 4 universal unwholesome fetters. Okay, we already know. Here Akusala is unwholesome. Sararana, okay, the word Sararana, I explained the 3 kinds of Sararana in mental fetters, right? The Sabbacitta Sararana, associated with all kinds of consciousness. And here Akusala Sararana associated with all Akusala, only Akusala, but all kinds of Akusala. So here these are same as the 4 fetters leaded by Moha. So Moha, Ahirika, Anuttapa, Uddhacca. Right. So here in the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma, page number 59, you can check there, the explanation come. And these 4 fetters occur in all 12 unwholesome citta. So it means occur in they come together, they arise together. And every unwholesome consciousness involves, the 4 kinds. So explanation come is the mental blindness. In Moha, we translate Moha delusion. Delusion and mental blindness, the same meaning, referring to that, because it is blind and it cannot see something in the correct way, is delusion. Then actually this blindness to the danger in evil, which is called delusion. Whenever akusala consciousness arises, although we know something very well about this, or I know this, how to do, or how to commit akusala, how to do something wrong. Some people are very skillful to do something wrong, right? But that kind of skillfulness is not called the wisdom. But although they are considered as this, they committing in skillful way, still they have the blindness. What kind of blindness? Mean the danger in evil. Because according to Buddhist teaching, you know, the evil action never bring good result. Maybe someone, you know, by stealing or by telling lying or by cheating others, and then they can find their benefits, the temporary benefits. But you know, that is not because of their agusala gamma. There's skillful way of cheating, or there's a skillful way of stealing something that, and we can see, oh, this is cause, and the gaining property is effect, but actually it is not correct. Not correct. And that he making this is not really good, you know, not really good result, because by this and by taking this, and then according to karma system, the karma will produce the bad result. So sometimes some people they are trying to get something by the wrong way, improper way. They can get, sometimes they cannot get like this. But we can understand that according to karma system, if we study the sutta, it clearly stated that it is impossible. Buddha used the word. It is impossible that evil karma produce good result, and good karma produce evil result. It is impossible. The Buddha already stated clearly. But for ourselves, if we just see the temporary events or cause and effect relationship as we can know, and it will not be correct. Because the link is not correctly provided. You know, we just see his tea and then he become rich or something like this. But here, what I want to say is, every evil karma, evil action, bring the evil result only. So if someone know correctly this system, and he has, you know, he is afraid of, he has fear to commit evil one. So moha make the person, you know, make the consciousness and not to see the danger in evil. Moha cover and show the other way. That's why it seems as the blind person, you know, under the influence or delusion or mental blindness. That person cannot see the danger in evil and can commit the unwholesome action. That's why whenever unwholesome consciousness arises, so mental blindness, there must be there mental blindness. If there's no mental blindness, and then he cannot commit like this. And also a lack of moral shame and a lack of moral dread. So this is, as I say, the fearlessness of wrongdoing, or shamelessness of wrongdoing, and fearlessness of wrongdoing, the same. Ahirika and Anuttapa. If he has moral shame or moral dread, here this one is, you know, the I feel fearful, you know, the mental condition to commit something wrong. He cannot commit. He or she cannot commit. That's why if someone perform the action of evil, basically the mental blindness and lack of moral shame or lack of moral dread already exist. And also this agitation or restlessness already there. But he is committing something wrong, like the concentrating on that. But actually the restlessness is still there. This is the natural phenomenon. Sometimes it is hard to see by our ordinary sense, you know. So we have to keep in mind these all mental condition involved in every moment of unwholesome consciousness. In this way, they are recognized as the universal unwholesome factors. Okay. Okay, so let's focus on each factors, the nature of each factor. So here, the first one, moha, delusion, is a synonym of avijja, ignorance. So in the sutta, we usually found this one, avijja. Even in the Paticca avijja paccaya sankhara, or this is the root, one of the main root of suffering, avijja, which is translated as ignorance. And if we talk about the roots, it's not, we don't say the avijja root, avijja mula, we just say the moha mula. So at that time we use the moha. But if we say about the root of the suffering, root of the round of suffering, at that time then we just say the avijja. But these two are the same. These two are indicating to the same ultimate reality, which is called mental factor, moha citasika. Okay, so what is dual? Avijja or moha, whatever, it hides the true nature of things. It hides. It makes you not to see the true nature of things. You see the things, but you don't see them in their true nature. In their true nature, like this someone use makeup, very well. You cannot see his or her real face. And you will always think, oh, he is handsome or she is beautiful. But actually, it may be correct or it may not be correct because we don't see the real appearance, right? So in the same way, under the influence of moha, we see something is not correct because it hides the true nature of things. And also, not only hiding, it shows, the other way. It's a kind of deceiving. It's a deceiving. And the opposite one is amoha, non-delusion, or knowledge, jnana, or panya, wisdom, or panyandriya, mental factors, panyandriya, wisdom faculty. This is the opposite of moha, we already know. And, in the sutta, it is mentioned that what is avijja? What is avijja? Normally, it is mentioned in the not knowing, because here the opposite is knowing or knowledge. That's why not knowing for noble truth is called avijja. So if we say that moha and avijja the same, we understand delusion make the blindness as the four noble truth. We don't see under the influence of moha or avijja, we don't see the first noble truth, suffering as suffering. What something is suffering, but we think it is happiness. It is pleasure. But actually, the real nature, the true nature is suffering. If we have that and we suffer. But under the influence of avijja or moha, we think this is pleasurable. And we're trying to get it. And we get, and we suffer. Like this. Life itself, according to the Buddhist teaching, the life is full of suffering. If we see from the higher perceptive of understanding, the life is full of suffering. But we see, oh, this life is okay, this is suffering. But if we get that kind of situation, life will be beautiful or pleasant. Or if we reborn in the beautiful realm, if for some people they expect to be reborn in, or mostly into Siddha, to have connection with the Bodhisattva or someone like this, and they expect to Siddha. But Dusita is also under the area of suffering, but still not knowing this also under suffering, and they expect it. And some people, they don't go to the Deva realm, and they just want to be human realms. I want to be as a man or as a lady or someone like this. But whenever this kind of the arising, this kind of expectation comes, is caused by the delusion and avijja cover the true nature of suffering. Then it covers the cause of suffering, the craving or the dependent origination, like this. So in this way, if we trying to understand, not knowing or hiding the true nature, I mean, in the sutta, it's mentioned that we don't know Four Noble Truth, the power of delusion of ignorance. Then if we extend, sometimes it is mentioned that 8 parts, that if you can and remember, try. And Four Noble Truth and the past extreme of the life, we don't know. And we try to know, and then we just get tired. This is called Pubbanda. Pubbanda means the past extreme. At the beginning, what is the beginning of our suffering or our life? We don't know. And the future extreme, Aparanta, the future extreme, when our suffering will end, we don't know. It's because avijja or moha is activated as working in our mental process, so we don't know. Then also two together, Pubbanda and Aparanta, the past and future extreme, two together are hide by the moha. Then the last one, Paṭijasamuppada, is mentioned in the sutta teachings. 8 together, altogether 8. Four Noble Truth and the past extreme, future extreme, past and future together. Then the last one, Paṭijasamuppada. In this case, if you are trying to know the real nature of suffering, the first Noble Truth, and the cause of suffering, second Noble Truth, and how to develop the Noble Eightfold Path, the fourth Noble Truth, then trying to understand the dependent origination, the link of dependent origination, you are practicing, that to achieve the knowledge. Practicing to achieve the knowledge is you are trying to get out of the influence of avijja, moha. Okay, so now we understand what is moha mean. Then the moha has the characteristic. We have to identify the characteristic. So moha has the characteristic of mental blindness or unknowing, ajnana. Ajnana, the opposite of jnana. Jnana is knowledge. Ajnana is not knowing. It's compared to the darkness. If you go into the darkness, you cannot see anything, and you don't know what are really existing around you. This is moha, the work of moha, and the nature of moha. Then second one, ahirika, shamelessness or wrongdoing. So here, lack of respect for oneself is the cause. Okay, before that, let's go to the characteristic. What is the ahirika mean? The characteristic, the absence of disgust at bodily and verbal misconduct. Ahirika. Actually, all kinds of this, not only misconduct, because it is emphasized in the wrongdoing. If someone is not discussing to things, just only mental unwholesome mental action only. Also, if he does not discuss on that, he's continuing. That person is continuing developing akusala, the way of thinking. But here, even in the Bhikkhu Bodhi's books, you can find only this definition related to the characteristic. This is very narrow. Actually, if we can see the absence or discuss toward the evil, all kinds of evil. If someone absent to discuss, disgusting, and if you are feeling that discussing, something, you will not touch it. You will not touch it. If you are not thinking that this is not to be discussed, and then you can touch. So, and the emphasis is respect oneself. Consider about myself. Oh, in my age, I should not think, I should not do, or I should not speak in this way. This is wrong. I cannot do this kind of wrongdoing in my age, considering about the age. And sometimes some people considering about the position, or in my position, I'm someone, you know, the here senior or the manager or someone. Taking this position, I should not do this kind of, I should not do this kind of wrongdoing. And also some people thinking about family lineage, you know, oh, in our family lineage, this is disgusting, like this, you know. In many ways, we respect to ourselves, not to other. We respect to ourselves, and we develop disgusting of wrongdoing. Because of that, if we don't care, you know, other not knowing or criticize or appreciate, or we don't care, but because we respect ourselves, we cannot do. But sometimes we cannot think. I should not think this. I cannot think. I cannot keep this kind of thinking, continuing, and stop. And this is respecting the respect of oneself. So if some akusala arise, you can change your mind. Oh, this is disgusting. I cannot do it. And you can find, oh, because I am the follower of the Buddha, you know, that I cannot do that. Or I'm disciple or who, or you are respected teacher, I cannot do like this. And consider about something, you know, any kind which is helpful you, and which is supporting you to avoid unwholesome. And you can think by this kinds of respect for yourself, and you can avoid. This is the opposite of the ahidika. It's called the hiri, shame, yeah, moral shame. But here, if someone lack of respect for oneself, and he can do whatever he can do. And here, compared to the village fish, you know, village fish, you know, some pick a pet of someone, you know, a beloved one, already fed by the very nice food, so they will not eat something bad. Here, the village fish, they don't have someone to feed, someone feeding, you know, so they can eat whatever, you know, eating excrement, okay, or disgusting, you know, that. Because for the pig itself, it does not know this is disgusting, and not feeling that, and eat it. In the same way, if someone is committing wrongdoing, is considered in this way. So because of shamelessness of wrongdoing. And another about the fearlessness. So here, not being afraid of consequence. If someone knowing this, the consequence, as I said, the evil action will bring only evil result, or I cannot do because I am afraid of consequence. After doing this, I cannot avoid. I cannot reject the consequence. That's why I cannot do this. Keeping consideration on the consequence. And this related to the lack of the others. Lack of the others mean if other will criticize, other will blame, or other will find, you know, that the law according to the law or something like this. And later on, maybe any kinds of bad consequence will come by this action. And consider about the others. So here, ahidika and notaba, and the lack of respect of oneself and lack of respect of others. But actually, this also need to have the full explanation. It's also need someone not being afraid of the consequence, but actually he afraid to commit the action itself. I don't like it. You know, that even to commit is, I'm afraid of that. This also considered as the moral shame, moral fears. And to differentiate from the ahirika here, compared to the moth, which is not afraid of flame. The moth or buff into the flame to the kindle light and then burn by that. Because it doesn't. If it is afraid of the flame, it will not bump into that. So in the same way, someone not being afraid of the consequence, they commit the unwholesome thing or evil things. Okay, so the last feather is uddhacca, restlessness or agitation. And this is mental restlessness, not physical one. Here, the nostril or discretion, not this being not firmly on the object. This all kinds is strange, because at the same time the one-pointedness will be there. We already mentioned that one-pointedness, mental fetters or one-pointedness, ekaggata, will be in every moment of consciousness because it is universal mental fetters. It unites all the mental fetters to focus on the object. But here its explanation said not firmly on the object, being not firmly like this. But it's by the power of one-pointedness, is go to the same object, but it's not staying firmly on that. And it makes the mind not to be stuck to the object like this. They are fighting each other in the nature. And the characteristic is disquietude, or like the water, shaken by the wind. Water shaken by the wind. If the outside windy, and you put your the water bottle there, and the water is shaken by that, and you cannot see your face appearance in that water. In the same way, the mind mentality is shaken by the uddhacca, the mental fetters there, restlessness. These four are universal unwholesome fetters. So we need to know their characteristic, each of them, and how they are doing when they arise. In akusala chitta, all are arising at the same time. Okay, let's continue to the three fetters leaded by lobha. We call the lobha trait, greed trait. So lobha is translated as greed, and it is synonym of tanha, craving. So in the sutta, we see the craving. And even in the Paticca we see the tanha. So vedana paccaya tanha, that is the craving. But there's no tanha citasika, only lobha citasika. So now, whenever we see in the sutta craving tanha, and we understand it is referring to the greed, lobha, and this is one of the root, right? So here the first unwholesome root is lobha, and here it covers in the different level. The different level of the lobha. Here we see that sometimes we see, oh, someone is selfish desire. He has desire thinking about himself, selfish. If we divide it into different parts, he pick up the biggest one, like this. It's kind of selfish desire. It's also kind of lobha. At the moment, he's trying to decide, which one I'm going to choose. At that time, the lobha arises and he pick up the bigger one. And on the opposite way, we consider that, thinking about the others, okay, this is the biggest one, and may the other can enjoy this bigger one, and then he will choose another, like this. In many moments of our life, our daily life, this come whenever you have opportunity to choose first. When you have to accept the remaining one, you will not have this kind, right? Or sometimes maybe it's not satisfying what you get, and you get angry, right? So this is selfish desire, also the lobha. And we can say the lounging. This is also a kind of, you don't have something, but you wish to get it. You wish to get, or I want to be, or I want to get that, and making and desire on that, that is also lobha. No, it's different from the chanda, you know. I say the chanda and lobha are very similar but different in the nature. Chanda can be in both sides. Chanda, desire, translated as desire, can be both sides. Sometimes kusala and sometimes a beautiful side as well. But this kind of knowledge is referring to get for myself, not to get for the other sakes, for the other benefits. This also the one of the level of the lobha. And clinging. This is another name we call the upadana, right? Upadana. In the chapter 7, we will learn the upadana. This upadana. One is clinging, one is lobha, and the other is wrong view. So clinging upadana, also lobha. So the characteristic of the lobha is grasping an object, grasping. How it grabs is grasp and don't let it go. You know, making one's own property, like this sticky substance, similar to this sticky substance. Once you touch on that, and then you cannot release it. And same here, in the commentary, it is explained that the monkey clue is some, you know, the monkey hunter, they want to to catch the monkey, and the monkeys are very skillful for, you know, the climbing of the tree, so they cannot follow. Then they put some glues in the trunk, at the trunk, and then the monkeys stuck there. They cannot move. That is, now if you are stuck in something by the power of lobha, you know, I want the new bag, or I want new phone, like this. You know, you cannot separate your mind from that object by the power of the greed. If you can separate, you know, it means the lobha is not working. As long as the lobha is working, and you cannot release yourself from that object, like your monkey clue. Okay, this is the nature of the lobha. And second one, deity, wrong view. So deity, actually in the Pali in Pali dictionary, we see the deity is just a view or just seeing. It does not mean right or wrong, because normally the deity is defined as a view or seeing. In connection with the samma or miccha, you know, two the adjective the samma deity or right view become right view, and miccha deity become wrong view. So here, if miccha deity wrong view is samma deity right view. So because deity is view or seeing is only. So in this case, we are talking about the akusala, right? Unwholesome. This must be miccha, so wrong view. That's why although we the name is deity, but we understand this refers to miccha deity, so we translate wrong view. And it makes seeing wrongly. And how is see wrongly mean? You know, the things are impermanent in their nature, but we see as permanent. This is wrong. But we see in this way, and this is because of wrong view. And things are, because under the impermanent natures, nothing is to be satisfactory, nothing to be satisfied, but we still satisfied. I get it, I'm satisfied because of wrong view. You know, without wrong view, you cannot satisfy by the sensual pleasure. You know, also here, this we can say that satisfying by sensual pleasure, not satisfied by the knowledge. You know, sometimes the noble person, the wise person, they attain the kusala, the mega pala, and they satisfy what they get. Or I'm satisfying my attainment, my achievement, but this is not satisfied by the sensual pleasure. But here cannot be satisfied because of wrong view. We see in this way, and also see sometimes Atman. This is everlasting substance, or everlasting entirety, never disappear, never be destroyed. And in this way, the people are seeing in wrong way. Then the characteristic is unwise interpretation of things or unjustified interpretation of things. Now, something is not really beautiful in its nature, but if you think this is beautiful, this because of wrong view, like this. And this also very wide nature. And we just need to keep this basis information so that we can continue further study. Then, and mana, here, mana is conceit. So, mana conceit is a kind of mental madness or madness, you know, when someone has mana is a kind of madness. And want to be on the top of the others, you know, you go crazy to be higher than others. This is the work of mana. And we say, oh, so proud, he is so proud, or she is so proud. It means she wishes to put him or himself or herself at the top, like this. And actually, you know, here it may be overestimation of oneself. Not only that, you know, if we study in the sutta about the mana like this, you know, this is the mood of, you know, the comparison, making comparing. Sometimes thinking about oneself, I'm lower, you know, lower than, I'm lower condition, in lower condition compared to someone else and feeling something. This also considered as the mana. Because of that, you can read in the Bhikkhu Bodhi's book here, or taking oneself to be superior, or some like going up superior or equal. Oh, he's the same with me, like this, and inferior. So in 3 levels, we making measurement, and making comparison, or this kind of self-evaluation is the nature of the concept, mana. So for the wrong view, it gives the misinterpretation toward the things, you know, the contrary to something is really happening or actually happening. But because they hold the different qualities contrary to each other, that's why the deity, wrong view, and mana, they cannot arise together. Remember that you need to take a note here, right? And deity, wrong view, and mana, they cannot arise at the same time. In one mind movement, they cannot arise. So sometimes the lobha arises with deity, or sometimes lobha arises with mana, or sometimes without the mana. So lobha is there. So in this group, we have to know it's different from the former group. In former group, all 4 arise together, right? Arise together in every mind moment or unwholesome consciousness. Here in this group, lobha is connected to 8 lobha mula consciousness. All 8 lobha mula consciousness arise with lobha. Without lobha, they cannot arise because they themselves greed-rooted, right? Without root, they cannot arise. So lobha will arise with every lobha mula consciousness. Okay, so for deity, you may remember 4 consciousness are deity gata, sampayutta, right? Associated with greed. In the akusala consciousness, you know, you already understand and remember the lobha mula consciousness. So if you recall it, the lobha mula, 4 are associated with round view, right? Associated with round view. Detigata sampayutta, sorry. Yeah, Detigata sampayutta. So associated with round view. Okay, so the others are dissociated from round view. So here mana, it cannot arise with law or deity, round view together. That is why only when, the Detikata Vipayuta, the Loba Mula consciousness dissociated from round view. There are 4 kinds, right? Only when these 4 kinds arise, mana can be. It's not exactly, that sometimes with the mana, sometimes without mana. So in the Detikata Vipayuta, we can say with mana or without mana, with concept or without concept. For Detikata Sampayuta, there must be round view, right? And because it is Loba Mula, so in both cases, Loba will be there. So you can take a note here, Detikata Sampayuta. And here, Detikata Vipayuta, but optional. So if you can keep this information in your mind and you can count, when Loba Mula consciousness, Detikata Sampayuta arise, how many manifestas like this, right? Yeah, not difficult. You need to consider, whether it can add Loba. Because it is Loba Mula, I need definitely to add it. And if, for round view, Detikata Sampayuta, you need to add round view. If Detikata Vipayuta, you don't need to add round view because it is Vipayuta dissociated from. And if Detikata Vipayuta, you need to consider whether it can be mana or not, sometime only. Okay, this is the information related to the association method. If you cannot catch up all the meaning, don't worry. Just take a note here. The Detikata Vipayuta dissociated from round view 4 consciousness here. And here associated with round view 4 consciousness. Okay. And the next group are dosa chatuka, hatred quadrant. And 4 manifestos leaded by the dosa, isa, machriya, kukuja. They are these 4 are associated with dosa mula only. Dosa mula only. In Loba mula or Moha mula or in other consciousness, they will not arise together. So only in case of dosa mula 2, we have to consider. Here also the dosa or dosa in other words, you can say dosa similar, same as the aversion. Another one here, dosa is same as aversion here, degree of aversion. Aversion, do you remember aversion? What is the Pali word?
Patika.
Right, patika. So dosa mula, both of 2 dosa mula consciousness are patika sampayuta. There's no patika vipayuta, right? If you check back in the consciousness chapter, patika sampayuta. That's why dosa arise in both dosa mula consciousness. There's no consciousness, dosa mula consciousness without dosa because it's roots. It's so aversions, you can take a note here. Patika, aversion is synonym. It's necessarily found in 2 dosa mula. So whenever 2 dosa mula arise, we have to add dosa in the manifestas. So here, second unwholesome roots comprise all degree. Aversion, patika, evil. Evil is one of the mental hindrances, right? Nivarana, evil. And also anger, dosa. And irritation, or sometimes, we don't understand, we are the dosa mula consciousness arising in our mind, because here irritation, when mental irritation arises, I cannot tolerate this. That time dosa mula arising, you just need to calm down, removing dosa. And annoyance, animosity, that is, these are the different level of dosa. Sometimes, we can add sorrow, when you see fear, like this, fear or depression, most of the time, depression, most of the parts are degree of dosa, like this. Okay, so this better to know that all degree of dosa are the work of the hatred dosa. And here depression and sorrow are also dosa, like this. And the characteristic ferocity, and say we can say the cruelty of is the characteristic of the dosa. Sometimes cruelty is going up and sometimes going down. And going down, we can see the depression or sorrow. And compared to the snake, this is the pointing of the higher level. The snake or cobra, if hit by the stick, just come up. In the same way, some people talking that, please don't arouse my anger, right? Don't arouse my anger like this. And this is referring to dosa. And Issa, so Issa translated as envy. Actually, this also sometimes used in the good condition, but this is akusala in the Abhidhamma. And being jealous. So we have to differentiate Issa from Machriya, the following one. Here we see that proximate cause is other sex. So in the Issa, it also have the kind of abortion, but adding its own nature of the resentment, cannot tolerate seeing the other sex, or including gaining wealth or looking good looking or something good. If he is thinking maybe something is not really good, but if he is thinking this is good, achieved by the other, he cannot tolerate by the work of envy, Issa. So focusing on the other is success. Remember this. And let's continue for the Machriya, avarice or stinginess. So this one is not being able to bear sharing one's own property. Or here, this focusing on one's own property, I cannot share with others. This is belong to me, I will. If I don't use also, I will keep it. This is not your. And this kind of attitude is Machriya. It's always arrive with dosa mula, never arise with loba mula. Or sometimes, we misunderstand this. This stinginess is kind of loba, actually, not loba. Maybe the following in my movement can be with loba mula and attachment. But later on, when the stinginess, when in the level of stinginess, it is related to the dosa mula. I don't like it like this. So considering one's own success is including the world appearance of beauty situation, whatever he has, and he trying to conceal because he does not like to share with the others. Or if someone is the good looking, or why you don't see me, you don't look at me. This is something like this. Even we can have the stinginess in different level on different kinds, because of that. And the proximate cause is one's own success. Here I should change the own, the one's own success. Make mistake. So if someone has something, trying to hide it because does not like to share with the others. In this case, we can understand the difference between Issa and Machriya. They cannot arise together at the same time. This also you have to take a note. Okay? And Issa, Machriya, focusing on the other success, and Machriya one's own property, one's own success. So they cannot arise at the same time. When Issa arises, Machriya cannot arise. When Machriya arises, Issa cannot arise. Okay. Then Kukucha, the next one is Kukucha's worries or remorse. After having done wrong, having wrong or done wrong, something doing wrong. After that, he worry like this. The characteristic is subsequent regret. This is a kind of regret. So to be regret, we say the proximate cause is what has and what has not been done. So here, for example, commission, something already done, which is the bad deeds, the wrongdoing. After that, regret or omission, or I didn't do this, something good. and missing this and then regret it. That is kukuja. This is called kukuja, right? So in this way, this also focusing on what is done or what has not been done. Different from the having different object from the former two. So in this case, in dosa group, you have to take a note. Dosa arise with both two dosa mula, with two dosa mula. But the Isa, Machariya, Kukuja, once they arise, one arise and the other two cannot arise. Only one of three can arise at one time. But all of them are optional. Sometimes getting angry, not related to Isa, not related to Machariya, not related to Kukuja, also possible. Only dosa there in that case. And sometimes dosa arise with the Isa, or sometimes dosa arise with Machariya, or sometimes arise with Kukuja. It's possible. So because of that, we can say the Isa, Machariya, Kukuja are optional, but they all can relate it to only dosa mula. They cannot arise with lobha mula or moha mula. Okay, and this is about the dosa group. And so let's continue the last one. The three feathers we call the others is not lobha, moha group, not in lobha group, not in dosa group, because these three are prominent leaders, obvious leaders of akusala, and these are not related to that. And then tina and mida, sloth and torpor. So here, sloth and torpor, we see the sluggishness or dullness of the mind, consciousness itself, sluggish, not active. And because the characteristic is lack of the driving power. The lack of the driving power, it cannot be enough active. This is called the tina. And for the mental feathers, here, the former one is for the mind. Sluggishness of mind is called the tina. And we call the sluggishness of mental feathers, although they arise together. Minds, in consciousness case, we call it tina. This is the work of tina. And the mental feathers case, we can say this is the work of metta. But they arise together always. We cannot say the tina arises and metta is not arising, but not like that. Then here characteristic both share the character. Here the lack of the driving power, and the others lack of the unworldliness. So because they have the different characteristics, we can differentiate one to another. Otherwise, we cannot differentiate, right? Every ultimate reality have the different characteristics. So Isa and Machariya have different characteristics. So the tina and mida. So tina and mida, they arise with the unprompted consciousness of akusala. So do you remember how many unprompted or sasankarika consciousness in akusala?
5.
5. Great. In 4 in lobha mula and 1 in dosa mula. And there's no moha mula, right? Moha mula not related to their classification. So tina and mida can arise with a 5, only unprompted consciousness or sasankarika, we say. Because asankarika means no need to be prompted. It is already activated enough, already active enough. And that's why the function of tina and mida cannot be there already. Okay, so the last one, vichikicha. Vichikicha is doubt. So we saw the spiritual doubt, inability to place confidence in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and training like this. This is different from the doubt. You don't know. You doubt something. the information in your work, in your business, or in reading. I doubt something, this which one is correct or not, which conclusion is correct or not. This is not related to that. This is not Vicikicca. And Vicikicca is Buddha, whether it's really Buddha or not, or like this. And Dhamma is really Dhamma, like Sangha and training. And also something, whether this is correct or not in the training, its kindness, Vicikicca. It's also a little bit complicated to define specifically. And this is one of the mental hindrances, 5 mental hindrances. The last one is Vicikicca. And Tinamita also, yeah. Okay, so here, to understand the nature of Vicikicca, here, which is no or absent. Cikicca is remedy or curing. If you have doubt, even the Buddha himself come, and if you have doubt, what to do? The Buddha come and talk to you. You are still doubt. Well, is Buddha or not? Nothing remedy. Even Buddha cannot cure to remove your doubt. It's like a disease out of the treatment. You cannot recover like this under the influence. Only when the faith come or the confidence come, or practicing this and see this, and then when the knowledge come, and it's wiped out. So here we did investigating and Kicca. So we can divide it into 2 ways. Following this philology, the understanding the meaning of the word, the investigating and getting tired. So by this, under this Vicikicca, you try to investigate the things, whether this is good. Oh, I think it's good, but in some kind, the with doubt is still continuing. Oh, it's not good. It seems not good really. Is this right? Oh, maybe wrong. Then try to investigate, but you get tired other than getting conclusion. This is how Vicikicca work. The characteristic is doubting. Okay, so here regarding the Tina and Metta, so to differentiate one to another, here slot consciousness and topo is Paṭivedha. You just need to say. And here I just want to introduce this. This pair is constituents of one of the 5 mental hindrances. So you need to know 5 mental hindrances mean themselves is mentalities. So which is overcome by the initial application. So Vidyaka strong, then the opposite of the Vidyaka actually. The overcoming is actually the first stage of enlightenment, Sotapatimagga arise, and then you can overcome. And the knowledge. So in the literature, there is argument about the Metta is to be included under materialities, because they point out even the Arhat, they get tired, they're traveling the whole day, and Arhat get tired and they're sleepy. This is Metta, they say. But in the Theravada Abhidhamma literature, the commentary rejected. No, this is the tiredness of the body, physical tiredness, not the Metta mentality. If this is the physical tiredness is regarded as the same fetters of Metta, the Buddha will not say it can be get rid of. It can be eradicated by the Magga, like this. So because it can be eradicated, it is not same as the physical tiredness. Okay, it doesn't matter because you are staying in the basis level. You don't need to worry about that. I'm just trying to introduce later on when you heard it and not to be confused. Okay, so I explain, and for the case of Vicikicca, only Vicikicca Sambuddha, right? Only Vicikicca Sambuddha, only one consciousness. This right, only one consciousness of Akusala Vicikicca. Okay, so I'm going to stop here my explanation, and let's continue the discussion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sayadaw, for giving the Abhidhamma lecture today. This will mark the end of our live streaming for everyone who is joining us from the streaming. Thank you very much for joining us today. We will now continue the question and answer session on the Zoom meeting. May you all be healthy, happy, peaceful, and may you all realize the eternal peace